Today's episode of circulation. Now, what are the learning outcomes of today's episode? First, we are going to learn about the parts of human circulatory system. Then we are going to learn about the blood vessels. The first part, the main parts of human circulatory system, we will be learning about blood vessels, vein, artery, capillary, and this all will be explained to you with the help of diagram. So let us start with today's episode. Now, we all know what is circulatory system. So in previous classes also we have studied that all living organisms, we need a regular supply of oxygen and nutrients to stay alive. So our body also secretes many hormones, we all know that, which have to be carried to various parts of the body for control as well as for coordination. So the transport of hormone and other things like the waste of the body, which is to be carried through different parts of the body through one system. So what is that system? So this is the circulatory system. So the transport of hormones is also carried by the transport system of our body, and we can say the waste products, the carbon dioxide, the oxygen, both are transported by the means of this system, which is called the circulatory system. So, who are all the main parts of circulatory system? We already know that main parts of circulatory system, in that we can include the blood vessels comes first. Obviously, the heart is the main part of circulatory system. So, today we are going to start with the blood vessels. So, what are these? The blood vessels are the system of channels through which the blood flows. So, this blood which is flowing through the blood vessels is carrying either oxygen or carbon dioxide or hormones or several waste materials to different parts of the body, either to get is expelled or through respiratory system we are exhaling out carbon dioxide, but all what is happening is through the blood. So blood is the main component of our circulatory system, which is being carried through the blood vessels. So today we will be studying or stressing mostly on the blood vessels. So blood vessels, we all can say that it is mainly of three kinds: arteries, veins and capillaries. So this three today we will be learning in details with their structure and function. So let us start today with the first part, that is artery. Now, first comes the arteries. So, what are these arteries? Arteries are the blood vessels that carry blood from the heart to various parts of the body. So, it is carrying the blood from the heart to various parts of the body. Now, mostly all the arteries carry oxygenated blood. So, what does this term oxygenated blood means? That is pure blood or the blood which is oxygen rich. So, the arteries are mainly carrying the oxygenated blood, that is oxygen rich blood, except the pulmonary artery. When I will be teaching you the structure and function of heart, I will tell you what does this pulmonary artery do. Just remember for here that it is the exception. All are carrying oxygenated blood, whereas the pulmonary artery will be carrying the deoxygenated blood or the blood which is having more carbon dioxide. So it is not having oxygen in it. So the amount of carbon dioxide is more. So it is the impure blood which is being carried through pulmonary artery. Generally, arteries are all carrying the oxygenated blood. So is it clear? Now we will stress on the structure of arteries. So how they look like? Structure of artery. Now here, see my pointer. I am pointing to this structure of artery. We can see from the innermost layer, you see this is the tunica intima, innermost layer made of squamous types of cell called the vascular endothelium. Now after that comes the tunica media or the middle layer. This is the thickest part of the artery and it is made up of a circular smooth muscle. And last comes the outer layer called the tunica adventitia, which is made up of fibrous connective tissue. So 3 layers are there. So it is having an elastic and thick muscular wall and each arterial wall is 3 layers are concentric, so one inside the another. You can say that we know that what are concentric circles. We have already studied in maths, right? So these are like three concentric layers. So tunica, the middle one is tunica interna or intima, then comes the tunica media, and last comes the tunica externa or the outermost layer. Now here you can see that arteries have a small lumen. So this is the small lumen and it is not having any valves. So when we are studying and we are moving on to vein, we will see what is the main difference between the artery and a vein, and which is quite important for your ICSE exams. So here the basic structure is 3 concentric layers, and which is quite thick and muscular, and a narrow lumen without any valves. So next we will move on to the veins. Now here comes the second part or the veins. So what are these? These are the blood vessels that carry blood from the body parts to the heart. So what was artery doing? Artery was carrying it from the heart to different parts of the body. So as it is carrying from the heart to different parts of the body, we can expect that it was carrying oxygen-rich blood. And this is carrying from different parts of the body to the heart. So mainly all veins carry deoxygenated blood, or rather impure blood, which is being purified in the heart. But here also we are having one exception. So this exception is the pulmonary vein. So again, when I'll be teaching you about the structure and function of heart, I'll teach you there what is this pulmonary vein doing. So all veins carry deoxygenated blood except the pulmonary vein. So now let us move on to the structure of the vein. So before going to the difference between artery and vein, let me explain you something about the semilunar valve. So the function actually of this valve we will be studying when we are doing the structure and function of heart. So what is the semilunar valve doing? So these valves are present here. So these are semilunar valves. They are open. So as the ventricles contract, the intraventricular pressure, the pressure inside the ventricle, that is the intraventricular pressure, rises up. So the blood pushes up against the semilunar valves and these valves are opening. So they are allowing the blood to move on to this pulmonary artery as well as the aorta. So they are pushing in the blood to the aorta as well as the pulmonary artery. Now what is happening here? The semilunar valves, after the blood is flowing through through it, what is happening? The ventricles, after the blood is pushed out, these valves are closing and the intraventricular pressure falls because the ventricles are empty at that time and the blood wants to flow back from the arteries, filling the cusps of the semilunar valves and forcing them to close. So they are exactly behaving like the door. So they are having only a one-way opening. They are not able to open both the ways. Now if you compare this with your normal door at home, so what is can you open the door in both ways? No. So once it is closed, you can open it in that way only. So it prevents, here also the semilunar valve can open in one way only. It prevents the backflow of the blood because when the ventricles are relaxing, the blood tries to flow back from the higher pressure region of the arteries back to the ventricle. So that if that is happening and if the semilunar valves are opening in both the ways, what would have happened? There would be a mixture of both pure and impure blood. So is it happening in your heart? No, it's not happening. So they are formed in such a way that they open only in one way. So they prevent the backflow of the blood. So is it clear to everyone? So now this comes the difference between the artery and the vein. Now here, this is the structural difference you see first. we have already described that the artery is having a much muscular layer of inner, middle and outside layer. So these three are concentric layers. In vein also these three are concentric layers, the inner layer, the middle layer and the outer layer. But these three are less muscular. So in the previous slides we have discussed it into two different slides. So in this I have tried to discuss in one slide only, comparing the two structures, both of the artery as well as the vein. Now these here you can see the capillary. So the capillary I'll be discussing with you afterwards. So let us see that the valve is not present in the artery, whereas in vein the valve is present. So now let us see what is the major difference between the artery and the vein. So this is all we can see about the structural difference. So there are some functional differences also. Let us see what is that functional difference. Now here, based on certain characteristics, I have divided the difference into many parts. Like first we can see on the direction of the blood flow, if we are telling that arteries are carrying blood away from the heart, that is from the heart to different parts of the body, whereas veins are carrying from different parts of the body to the heart. So it is mainly based on the direction of the blood flow. Now second comes on the nature of the blood. Arteries mainly carrying oxygenated blood, and there are exceptions also, I have told that while teaching. And veins are carrying the deoxygenated blood. Now flow of blood in arteries, they are flowing with much high speed and they are flowing under high pressure. Especially this difference between arteries and veins is very important for your ICSE. So please go through it and please learn it as I have taught you, with the help of this certain characteristics. If you learn these characteristics, then it will be very much easier for you to make out the differences. So no need to learn these differences. You will automatically find out if you have understood the previous slides. Now, if you are discussing on the blood flow, so in the arteries it is flowing with a high speed and under high pressure, whereas in veins they are flowing with much lesser speed and under low pressure. Now, depending on the valves, arteries valves are absent, as well as in veins valves are present. Now position in body, arteries are much deep seated in our body. They are not visible from the external part, whereas veins are comparatively superficial. So under the skin we can see mainly the veins. So they are superficial, whereas arteries are quite deep seated. Now depending on the lumen and wall, we can say that this lumen is narrow and the wall is thick and more elastic, and in veins the lumen is comparatively wider and the wall is thin and less elastic. Now let us come to the wall layers. We all know that it is having 3 layers, whereas here in the arteries we can see that the elastic membranes and the tunica media are well developed, but the tunica externa is comparatively less developed, whereas in the veins the tunica externa is comparatively well developed. So this is all about the difference between the arteries and veins. So please go through it, please try to understand it rather than learning it, so that it will be easier for you to make out the difference between arteries and veins. Now till now we have not discussed about the capillaries. So now we are going to discuss about the capillaries. Now here comes the structure of the capillaries. So what are these? These are the microscopic blood vessels that carry blood from the arterioles to small veins or venules. So what these are doing, they are connecting between the arteries and the veins, and they are very thin. So found in tissues or organs where the rate of metabolism is fast, and they are made of single layered endothelial tissue with very narrow lumen. So they are single layered of endothelial tissue having very narrow lumen, and capillaries can dilate or contract, which increases or decreases the supply of blood to various parts of the body. Now, if in some part of the body we are in need of huge blood supply, so the capillaries can dilate, and when there is less need of blood, they can contract. So on the supply and demand of blood, they contract as well as they dilate. So now let us see what is there more in the structure of capillaries. Now in this continuation of the part 1 of the structure of capillaries, we can see that this is a image of capillary, or here we can see that it is not having the outer 2 layers, that is, it is lacking tunica media as well as tunica externa. I think you remember that both the vein and the arteries were having prominent tunica media and tunica externa. But this is not present in this capillaries. This is made up of a very thin endothelial layer made up of only tunica intima, or the innermost layer. It is so thin that it also facilitates the exchange of food materials, gases and waste between the blood and the tissues. And the lumen is very small, only one single red blood cell can pass through at a time. Now let us see, if we are seeing artery, veins and capillaries together, how does it look in the next slide. Now here we have taken both the artery, both the vein and the capillaries together in one picture. So what they are doing, we can see that these are capillaries which are connecting both the arteries and the veins. Arterioles and the veins are being connected. And we have told already they can dilate and contract, which increases or decreases the supply of blood. And veins are carrying blood back towards the heart, and arteries are carrying from the heart to different parts of the body. Now it is having a thick muscular layer, artery. Vein is having a thin muscular layer. These capillary network is very thin, mesh-like thing. And what is it actually doing? As it is having a very thin outer layer, which is rather, we can say that it is so thin that it can help in the exchange of gases through its wall only. So it allows the inward and outward diffusion of glucose, amino acids as well as urea, these capillaries. They also allow the diffusion of oxygen into the intercellular fluids. Okay, is it clear? To allow the movement of leukocytes through the capillary walls. So these capillary walls allow the movement of leukocytes through the capillary walls, as well as the RBCs and the proteins. They do not move out through this capillary walls. Only the leukocytes can pass through this capillary wall or capillary network. So this is all for today. So we have already done about the structure and the function of artery, vein and capillaries together. So this is quite a small part. I tried to discuss about the parts of the human circulatory system, and the first main part are the blood vessels. So please try this and read whatever textbook you are referring to. Please go through it. Please go through this blood vessels part, so that when we are coming up with the next part, mostly we will be coming with blood and its component. Then only we can move on to the structure and function of the heart. So please don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and I'll keep on posting videos related to circulatory system, so that to get the updates, please do subscribe to my channel. And if you are having any queries, please do write in my comment box, so that in the next coming videos I can upload the answers. So this is all for today. Thank you.